Welcome, everyone. I'm Carl Brook, and I am president of the Environmental Peacebuilding Association and one of the organizing committee. Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to make Alice Taberner co-host. Alice, if you could let people in as they come, that would be great. And I will focus on the presentation. So maybe just very briefly, let's go around and do brief introductions. Very briefly, James, do you want to start, and then Ehab?
Sure. This is James Borton, and I'm a non-resident senior fellow at Johns Hopkins University SICE program, their Foreign Policy Institute, and I've been writing about the South China Sea for quite some time.
And your session is on?
The session is on peace building in transboundary water issues and how marine science, our blue parks, can help quell those conversations or conflicts in that particular transboundary water issues.
Great. Ehab, and then Paula.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ehab Tahboub. I work as a meal officer at EcoPeace Middle East. We're an organization that works in environmental peace building, and I'll be chairing the panel about environmental education as a regional bridge for peace building in the Middle East.
Great. Paula, and then Alina.
Yeah, hi, I'm Paula Gutierrez. I'm the Gender Equality and Social Inclusion Associate in the Global Green Growth Institute in Colombia, and I'm chairing the session about resources, conservation, and peace building in Colombia.
Thank you. Alina, then Alice.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alina Fiev. I'm a climate security consultant at Adelphi, and I'm sharing a session on trust and peace building through including climate and environmental consideration, where we want to share insights from our Weathering Risk Peace Pillar, a flagship initiative that's funded by German Federal Foreign Office. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Alice, then Thomas.
Hello, hi. I'm helping Carl organizing the third conference on international peace building. So I might have been in contact with some of you before. Nice to be here.
Thomas, and then Janet.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Carl. This is Thomas Reeve from Oxfam. I will be chairing a session on perspectives on the climate security nexus with PAX, Mercy Corps, and USIP, and we'll be focusing on a set of tools, both practical on the groundwork and policy influencing.
Janet, and then Elaine.
Great. Hi, sorry, I'm joining from my phone. I'm Janet Edmond with Conservation International, and I'm chairing a panel on African leadership and environmental peace building.
Elaine?
Hi, everyone. My name is Elaine or Lan Xiao. I am co-chairing a session on decolonial environmental peace building and action stories from the ground.
And Mary Ruth introduced herself online. I can't believe you're in this conference call right now. But thank you so much for joining us. I wish your father heals. She's chairing a panel on gender and climate security in the Asia Pacific region. Claire, and then Dong.
Hi, everyone. I'm Claire. I'm the program associate at the Environmental Change and Security Program at the Wilson Center, which is a think tank based in DC. And I will be chairing a session or a roundtable conversation on investing in women and girls as agents of environmental peace building with Women for Women International, someone from Georgetown University, and a couple other folks too.
Dong?
Hi, everyone. My name is Phương Dung Lê. You can call me Dung. I'm from Wageningen University and Research, and also a climate security focus team from CGIAR. So I will be chairing the session on micro evidence on climate and security, linking case studies across the globe, where we share our research from Vietnam, Bangladesh, and the Sahel. Nice to meet you all.
Welcome. Karen and then Scott.
Hi, I'm Karen. I'm chairing a session on accountability and environmental peace building.
Scott?
Hi, I'm Scott, longtime visitor at ELI, and I'm chairing the panel Conservation and Environmental Peace Building.
Thank you. Graham and then Emmanuel.
Hi, I'm Graham. I've worked with Carl on a variety of different projects at ELI, and I will be chairing a session on technological innovations for environmental peace building.
Great. Emmanuel?
Hello, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Davalillo Hidalgo. I'm from Venezuela, and I'm a program officer at the United States Institute of Peace, but I'm based in Geneva, where I'm a doctoral researcher at the University of Geneva's UNESCO chair in hydropolitics, focusing on water governance in West Africa. And the session that I'll be chairing is on monitoring and evaluating environmental peace building and resilience, which will have a few folks from different regions. And I'm very much looking forward to it. Thank you so much. Over.
Thank you. And Heloise?
Hi, Eloise here at the Peace Nexus Foundation based in Switzerland, and we are convening the Funders Roundtable on what it takes to fund climate and conservation work in conflict.
Excellent. Thank you. So I would like to give a brief to moderate overview of the context, the facilities, the support, and what we're asking chairs to do, and then open it for discussion. So, okay, yeah. So the key dates coming up are June 12th, which is less than 2 weeks away. That's the virtual day. This is free for all. And we're encouraging everyone to help get the message out, especially for your own sessions, but also just generally the way that people do it is go to the online agenda, find a session they like, click on register, and sign up for the session. Please help get the word out. We are trying to manage Zoom bombing. There were a couple of incidents at earlier NPAX events and also at other events that I've attended. So the good news is people are noticing us, but we are trying to manage who comes in and trying to limit unpleasant experiences, which is, I think, one of the key messages. We're trying to provide a safe environment, an inclusive environment, and we're also trying to, make it both open and safe. June 18 is when things really start up in The Hague. A whole series of pre-conference events, trainings, site visits to the International Criminal Court and the Office for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, a series of workshops, and then business meetings for the Environmental Peacebuilding Association, including a member meeting, which is open to all, not just to members, but to people who are interested in the association. And then immediately following that, will be interest group meetings for people to engage. And then the in-person conference is June 19 through 21. That's Wednesday through Friday. Registration is required. As a practical matter, we filled up registration a couple weeks ago. Registration has closed. We have held a couple of slots, which is good because I just received an email from somebody saying, this person's on my panel. They didn't actually finish registering. Do you please have a spot? And so we've been able to accommodate those requests. But as a practical matter, registration is full, it's closed. And so if there is somebody that we really need there, please let me know as soon as possible. Key considerations. First, as we saw at with the second International Conference on Environmental Peacebuilding, which we did in partnership with the Graduate Institute in Geneva, there was great attendance at the session, and there was even more engagement afterward, when we posted the recordings online, many sessions within a month or two had twice as many people viewing the videos as attended. Sometimes these were people who were at the conference, but they were attending another session. So when there are breakout sessions, you can't go to all the things that interest you. Sometimes there were people who weren't able to join us because of other commitments or because the time didn't work for them. So we're trying to record as many presentations as possible. We're recording only the presentations, not the Q&A. This is optional, I should be clear. But in order for us to record, we need the rights to do so. And so the grant of license that has been circulated enables us to do that. And we are asking the chairs to secure the grants of license for their panel. These for both for simplicity and to reduce error, we are basically recording a panel or we're not recording a panel. So it's important that everyone sign the grant of license if you want it recorded. And then afterward, we will post it to our YouTube channel. And like I said, we expect that that will generate an even broader audience for the discussions and for the sharing of knowledge. For a number of sessions, I think it's about 20, we are providing interpretation, thanks with support from the World Bank. Most of the interpretation is English, French, and Spanish, or English and French, English and Spanish. For some that deal specifically with Ukraine, we are also providing Ukrainian interpretation. These are indicated on the agenda. And I should note that because the interpretation resources are limited, we are focusing those for only the sessions where we can record, post, and share with a broader audience. So this gets back to the importance of the grant of license, especially where there is a where we want to have interpretation. Finally, and we'll come back to this a certain amount, but we are trying very hard, as with previous conferences, to ensure a safe environment. And I'll come back to that in a moment. The basics of the conference, when we have breakout sessions, and most of you are chairs for breakout sessions, there will be 8 breakouts at a time. And so part of that is why it's important to advertise your session. The formats range from panels, which have a series of presentations, to roundtables, to workshops, and some other formats that don't neatly fit in any of the other categories. We are trying very hard and emphasizing the importance of a dynamic, engaging environment. And that means ensuring that there is sufficient time for discussion. The rooms themselves, you see, kind of 2 basic rooms here. The one on the right is, these are the smaller rooms with the movable chairs, movable tables, which is important for those sessions where people want to do breakout groups or move things around. The one on the left is the larger lecture hall where the seat writing surfaces are set. And so you can still do breakout groups, but you can't move the chairs. The facilities will get very grumpy about that. Each room has whiteboards and markers. If you want flip charts or Post-it notes, you can bring them, but they're not provided. And talk about the duties and responsibilities of chairs immediately before and during the conference. Before the conference, we encourage you to arrange a virtual meeting with the speakers. And I think all of you should have received an email on this. The objective here is to just get everyone oriented, discuss the format, the order of speakers, issues that you want to bring out, address any questions. And if there are questions that you're not able to answer, please contact us at conference@environmentalpeacebuilding.org. We also are asking you to collect the grants of license and send those to the Secretariat. And then for your own role in introducing them, we encourage you to request speaker bios. Generally, I would keep them short and focus on the substance, but that's really a question of how much you want as a chair. For roundtables, which are essentially facilitated discussions, both within the roundtable and then with the broader audience, we would recommend that you prepare and share a list of questions with the speakers so that they can prepare, have thoughts about what they want to say. The sessions are all 90 minutes, at least all of the breakout sessions. And we hope that you will reserve at least 30 minutes for Q&A. As I noted, there are multiple parallel sessions, so encourage you to advertise, get the word out, and get people excited about your session. And also, it would be easiest, it's not essential, it's not required, but it would be easiest if you can collect the PowerPoints in advance, whenever that is, but in advance, so that when we come to load up the PowerPoints, it's done from one USB stick and not from 3 or 4 or 5. Immediately before the session, we're asking you and your speakers both to show up at least 15 minutes before the session, so that you can meet the Secretariat staff managing the room, and each room has at least one person providing support. For selected sessions, there will be a person or people monitoring the door to ensure that only registered participants enter. And this is basically just, making sure that everyone has their badge. And the concern is for sessions, particularly those that have an Israeli speaker, there's concern that somebody might want to disrupt the presentation, might not want to let them speak. We're hopeful that nothing happens. We're just trying to be prepared. The building itself, the Weinhaven building, is open to conference participants and to Leiden University staff. So the public is not able to access the site. It's only people who have registered and Weinhaven students. So we're hoping that that's going to make it, that will help in reducing risk, but we're trying to be prepared. So after meeting the Secretariat staff, you can provide them with a thumb drive, assuming that you have PowerPoints. PowerPoints are not required, to be clear, but you can provide them with a PowerPoint, the slides, and they will upload those. And then they will also, the Secretariat staff will also connect any virtual speakers, and there may be a few virtual participants who are, generally speaking, those are people who have registered virtually to speak in a session, and they are also enabled to join where there is a streaming and a recording. They will also be able to join virtually online. All of that is going to be managed by the Secretariat staff, though. During the session, aside from kind of the usual chair roles of introducing the session, introducing the speakers, your key job is managing time. Depending on when in the conference your session is and the subject matter of your session, we would encourage you to remind the audience of the rules of engagement. And I say this because I think, the first few sessions of the conference, this may be more important. By the time you get to Friday, they've probably heard it a lot. And so depending on the session, you might want to remind people, but generally I think it's less important. And so this is a safe space for discourse and exchange. We ask people to be respectful, and we insist that there is no harassment. For where there's interpretation, the interpretation is being provided via Zoom. So it's like a virtual meeting, except people are in the same room. So if you're in a session that is English, French interpretation, and you're bilingual, congratulations, you don't need it. If your French is rusty or your English is rusty and you'd like to listen to the interpretation, you can do so by logging on to Zoom and then just listening as you would if you were home. The staff will provide a slide that has a QR code, so people can just, while they're there, take a photo, link to the Zoom, and join. It is important, and we are trying to communicate this to all participants. If you want interpretation, it's important that you bring some sort of headset, earbuds or headphones or something like that. We haven't, or I should say, we have had very limited experience with disruptions. We had a couple of Zoom bombers, two to be precise. And since then, we've adjusted a lot of strategies, and they seem to be working. Our primary concern right now is that Weinhaven is an academic building. And there have been protests about the war in Gaza. And there are kind of two scenarios that we are concerned about. One is that the building itself is occupied, in which case we need to find another site. You guys don't need to worry about that. Anybody on the virtual panels, this is not for, you don't need to worry about that. The other question, the other risk is that if there's a session that has that, especially those focusing on the Middle East, that there may be people who want to disrupt the session. They may want to keep Israelis from speaking. They might want to just disrupt the session entirely. And I think it's a modest risk, but it is a real risk. And so we are trying to plan in advance, hope that nothing happens, but plan in advance. And I think for these sessions in particular, first, as I noted earlier, we will have people at the door to make sure that only registered conference goers are coming in. Second, as the chair, please remind everyone about the rules for engagement at the beginning of the session. If something happens, try to maintain a neutral position. We encourage you, to the extent that you feel comfortable, to try to de-escalate if possible. Talk diplomatically, allow people to speak. How long that is a question. One option that has worked at other places has been to invite the person to join the panel as a recognized speaker and to share their perspectives. And that's not guaranteed to work, but it has worked in a number of instances. I think it's important to acknowledge what is being said, and to recognize disagreements. It's critically important that you stay calm and that you do not engage physically. There are questions about whether we should ever contact university security staff. It is an option. I think it's primarily an option if there is somebody making physical threats or if people are feeling physically threatened. There is a possibility that if we cannot continue that session, that the chair might say, unfortunately, it looks like we're not able to continue this session. We will end here, and we will continue at a later date. And basically, what we would do then is have a virtual session after the conference. It's not the same, but we would to sure that there is still an opportunity to have that dialogue. And this is still all a work in progress. If you guys have suggestions, recommendations, feelings, we are very interested in your feedback. But I also want to note the Secretariat staff is there to help. As a general matter, we are asking them to defer to your judgment. So if you want to kind of provide them with space, provide them with time, they're not going to run off and get security staff. But I think it's important that you are in charge of that room. And if you need help, let the Secretariat staff know, and they will go get help. They will go first to the registration desk, which is where the Secretariat is working, and then we can either consult you, or if it does look like there is a threatening situation, that we can immediately call security. But that's only if somebody is really in a threatening mode. In terms of support, the organizing committee will be there throughout. That includes Daniela Dam de Jong from Leiden, Lauren Herzer-Risi, Chris Huggins, Munini Mutuku, Erica Weinthal, and myself. We have core staff for each day. And these are people that you've generally been in touch with already. There is a whole team behind them. Generally, for most of the in-person days, it's between 12 and 15 people, and you'll be able to tell them by their lanyards. But the core person that's coordinating for June 12th, the virtual day, and for the pre-conference day is Alice Taberner. On June 19th, those of you who have sessions on June 19th, you've been in touch with Natalia Voino. Bouquet, she's not able to join us in person, so Bouquet Altenschelep has kindly agreed to coordinate the in-person portion of that. Carrie Hanks on June 20th and Rachel Weaver on June 21st. And then generally, Tori Rickman and Oscar Fien will be resources for those who are need things that go beyond kind of some of the normal technical things. We also, as I said, have this broader team of more than 20 in the Secretariat overall. In the room, there will be at least one person, often more. And then there's always the opportunity to go to the help desk, which is essentially at the registration desk, and they will be able to help you there. I think that's it. So I'll stop there and allow for any questions, comments, recommendations. All clear? Claire, please.
Sorry, I had a quick question on the AV situation in the rooms.
Yes.
You mentioned that some rooms have like PowerPoint capabilities. Do all rooms have a screen? Because we were in touch with our speakers this morning, actually, and some of them want to maybe show a video or show some photos.
So all rooms have a screen. We were asking about this yesterday internally, and I don't know that any or which rooms have more than one screen, but they all have one screen, and they all have a computer. So if you know, and that is what we will be loading the PowerPoints onto.
Okay, perfect. That's great.
They also have, I think, some rooms have in-room cameras. Some rooms do not. So for those rooms that do not have in-room cameras, we are hoping that, and we need to kind of work this out amongst ourselves, but we're hoping that there will be a laptop so that whoever's speaking, it gets moved to the next person, but you can capture both the audio and the visual. The rooms also have very good microphones in the ceilings so that anybody speaking is captured, because sometimes that becomes a difficulty. So this gives a chance for people in the room and people online to have a good conversation. It also means that if somebody is talking about, what they had for dinner last night, it gets picked up. So and all the rooms also have whiteboards and will have markers.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much.
Mary asked about sharing the slides for reference. We will circulate those along with a link to the recording for this video for you and for the others. Guesses. I'm hoping for today, but it might be over the weekend.
Carl, one quick question.
Yes.
Since my session is, virtual and it's intended to be a discussion, would you suggest that I discourage from any of the panelists any PowerPoint presentations, since they're going to be focusing on a specific area, let's say the Red Sea, or the South China Sea in the case of Wuhaidan. Of course, I'm well informed of the time constraints here, and they know that it's not, I've positioned this as a discussion as opposed to individual PowerPoint presentations on their region. But for the benefit of the larger audience out there, some PowerPoints might be helpful in guiding.
I completely agree, and I think there's a difference here between a PowerPoint presentation and a PowerPoint slide or two. So in that sort of circumstance, it'd be nice to have a map, and maybe for some reason you want to show a couple of photos.
Sure. Okay. Understood. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question for the in-person events and in particular the breakout sessions. Did I understand you correctly? If we send you like the signed license of all speakers, then the session will be recorded, or is it like a default basically then? Or I wasn't sure if the breakouts will be recorded or like the bigger panels just
so
that.
We are planning our resources so that we can record every session. But then we are going through and asking, do we have permission to record this? And if we don't, either we don't have permission or the chair has said, for various reasons, we do not want to record it. Then we say it's not being recorded. So the default is it's being recorded, but we will do a review to make sure that we have permission to do it. So if that doesn't happen, if we don't have the permission, then we will. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. No, helps a lot. Thank you.
Thomas.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. That was all very clear. I had a question whether there are any plans. You mentioned about promoting the different sessions. Is there any, and of course we will do that through our own channels, but is there any is there going to be any pre-conference sort of outreach or communication on sessions? Or for example, right now in the agenda, we can see the title and we can see the panelists, but we can't really see the abstract. So will there be like a wider program with little bios and abstracts, or is that something each individual session will do? Like how are we promoting as a whole, let's say, rather than just individual sessions?
So we have posters, especially, and most of the posters we've focused so far on the virtual day. And those do not have the abstracts themselves. I would encourage you to use the hashtag, which I just put in the chat list, MPAX 2024, and then we can also help to amplify the online agenda. And Alicia, are you able to kind of post the link to the online agenda? The online agenda, so there is the agenda that we keep updating with a PDF that has the titles and such. But there's also the long online agenda, which has the abstracts.
Great. Okay, I haven't seen that. Okay.
And so Alicia will put the URL there. I will say, this is something that Graham and I need to talk about, is if trying to find a way for it to load faster. Sometimes it takes a little while to load. Don't worry, it's not you, it's us. But that has the abstracts for the session. It has the abstracts for the individual participants. It does not have the bios as such. And I think that's maybe something that we can think about for the fourth conference, about how we want to manage the bios.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so there will be a space where we can refer to with abstracts of the.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And there is a specific URL for each individual panel and roundtable.
Okay.
So you could circulate that, and that will have the links to each of those things. The other point that I should note is that papers are not required. If people do write papers, we have the ability to post links to those from your session. So if somebody has a paper, and we're happy to do that both before the conference and after the conference. So this is an opportunity to kind of also disseminate the relevant publications. I'm curious if anybody has any recommendations for how to manage disruptions, or either what to do or what not to do. Again, I'm hoping this is a non-issue, but I mean, second conference, we were dealing with how to navigate COVID. Now we're trying to how do we navigate potential disruptions. And I'm just, there have been a few experiences in different universities, and most of those hit the news because they're not managed well, because people haven't thought about it in advance. And so we're very keen to learn from your experiences and how to manage it better. Or we can just hope that nothing happens.
Carl, I think the guidance you gave is pretty solid. Like, I mean, with all these cases, you always have to use common sense as well, and a bit of feeling. But yeah, I think the guidance that was given was clear and yeah, easy to understand.
Thank you, Thomas. Any other questions or comments?
Yes, Carl, hi. I have just a very quick one. In the case of the panels we have, right, these are breakouts. Ideally, it's more conversational, I'm assuming. So, if panelists want to have a presentation, should we give them a parameter to say, don't go over, 7 to 10 minutes? This is not really kind of the space for a 15-minute, 20-minute presentation. Because the idea is really to have that discussion within the panel itself and then the audience. So I'm curious if there is like a formal guideline we can offer, or if it's kind of, choose your own adventure type of thing. And then for just a quick comment on, the potential for disruption will be definitely, latent. And I think one of the ways that we might all be able to preempt that a little bit is to think how our subject might directly have a link to what's going on in Ukraine and Gaza, and do that kind of, homework already and think about it in a meaningful way, so that if this happens, we can immediately bring it in, and that it's, it's going to not derail the conversation entirely. It'll continue to be on topic, and that might offer an opportunity to at least see the panel through. So maybe that's a way to actually call them in and say, yes, we prepared for this, we understand, and this is how we might see the relevance of that. And thank you for that, kind of having that recognition, because everybody has a lot of emotions around this. So kind of trying to shut it down, or kind of, not having a way to, react quickly might actually make things a little bit more challenging. So just throwing it out there.
I think that's great advice, Emmanuel. Regarding how to manage essentially roundtables where people want to give presentations, it really is up to you. I mean, if you're trying to do a roundtable and you have one option is to give people 5 minutes for an introductory kind of framing of where they're coming from and their perspectives on that issue. And then you have 3 rounds of questions that you've prepared, and they can talk amongst themselves. And then you open it for audience Q&A. If you have a panel that is intended to have presentations, there are abstracts on the agenda and everything else, then I would say it depends in part on how you want to, on how many people you have. So if you have 4 speakers, I would say, okay, you've got the introduction, say that's 5 minutes. So there's 55 minutes, 4 speakers, 13, 14 minutes each. If you've got 5 speakers, that cuts it down to 10, maybe 11. So I think it really depends on the panel. We don't have strong feelings about that. We're just trying to make sure that there is adequate time for discussion, because if you're somewhere and you're just being talked to all day, every day, it's really old. And I think some of the magic of the previous conferences has been that we have had some really good discussions. And so we really want to protect that space. That answer your question, Emmanuel?
Absolutely. Yep. We got to protect the audience from long-winded presentations and just kind of give them more the room to exchange with the panelists, to not just amongst themselves. So duly noted, and we'll make sure that to make every effort so that's the case. Thanks, Carl.
Excellent. Elaine.
Yeah, hey, I was just thinking about some of the comments on what we might be able to do in case of the protest kind of having an impact on sessions. And I just wanted to share a little bit of the experience, because I work at, as you know, at Kent State University, where students were killed and murdered for protesting on campus. And also we had a similar, much smaller kind of parallel experience with the IUCN World Conservation Congress when we were in Jeju, South Korea, and there were the protests of the US marine base development. So I think we could take a few lessons from all of that. And one of the things that I remember that was really, I think, impactful is the outreach that the conference made to the protest organizers before the actual conference happened. And I know that these student organizers are usually quite organized and already in conversation with their university admin. And so I think maybe letting them know what this conference is about, what it is, informing them. And then the other thing that we did, especially at the World Conservation Congress, was to actually invite some of those activists into some of the sessions that were relevant, like our session on strengthening local voices, et cetera, that kind of thing. And so maybe there might be somebody who actually, and I think you mentioned this as a sort of ad hoc intervention, but I think we can actually do that very intentionally before the actual conference happens. And then that makes them feel like this is a space where they're being listened to and not a space where they need to protest. Yeah, so I just thought maybe I would make those 2 small suggestions that I think would take a little bit of prep work, but could help to prevent something that's, of a very different nature.
Thank you, Elaine. That's very helpful.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Okay. Well, thank you all. Appreciate your time, and very grateful you are chairing the sessions. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us at conference@environmentalpeacebuilding.org. We have people in Europe and North America. Those are the primary regions where our staff are, which means that we are online most hours of most days. So we can try to get a response to you quickly. If for some reason we don't respond to you within 48 hours, even at this point, I would say 24 hours, nudge us. We are trying to be responsive as we are getting closer and closer to the conference. So thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Carl. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.